immerse yourself into the world of Creepy Man. He's waiting for you.
They say there's a train that comes through the town of Hollow Point, just once a week. It runs at midnight. It doesn't appear on any schedule, no stops, and it doesn't have a conductor. They say if you're on that platform and you hear the whistle, it's already too late. It takes you. They call it the last ride. And if you get on, you'll never get off. Caleb Morris had reached the end of his rope. At 29, life had chewed him up and spat him out. Laid off from a job he didn't love, heartbroken by someone who no longer cared. He packed a bag, walked out of his apartment. He bought a one-way ticket to nowhere, literally. He got on a random bus heading north, no destination, just escape. Closed his eyes and told himself he wouldn't get off until it felt right. Next stop, Hollow Point, the driver said with a tired grunt. By the time he woke up, the bus had stopped at Hollow Point, which has a population of just 312 people. The town wasn't on any map Caleb had ever seen. It was the kind of town that felt stuck between decades, everything coated in a thin film of dust and regret. But the name sounded quiet, peaceful, final. So he got off. The place felt stuck in time. Gas pumps with rusted needles, a diner that still used paper menus and called coffee $1 refillable, and people who stared a little too long when they realized you weren't from there. As the sun began to set, Caleb wandered toward the outskirts. That's when he found it, the Hollow Point train station. Except it wasn't really a station anymore, just an old concrete platform, half-cracked, choked with ivy and wildflowers, a broken bench, a rusted trash bin, and a faded metal sign that read, Track 0, no admittance after dark. A man was sitting there on the bench, hunched and silent. He was thin, gray, worn, like the years had melted off him and left only nerves. Caleb asked, "Hey, does a train still come through here?" The man didn't look up. He just said, "You're not from here. Don't be here at midnight, especially when the whistle blows." Caleb laughed nervously. "Why?" The man slowly looked up. His eyes were glassy, hollow, like someone who had seen too much and spoken too little. "It doesn't stop for people," he whispered. "It stops for souls." That night, back in his dusty motel room, insomnia gnawed at Caleb. He couldn't sleep. Something about the platform gnawed at his brain. By 11:40 p.m., he was up, pacing. By 11:50, his shoes were on. By midnight, he was back at the platform, alone. Then, at 12 a.m., he heard a low, echoing whistle that didn't sound like any train he'd heard before. It didn't rise or fall, just lingered. Then the train appeared. Silent, rolling out of the darkness like it had been waiting for centuries to be remembered. It was impossibly black. The kind of black that swallowed the moonlight, sleek, modern, but not of this time. The windows were smoked over, but the doors opened with a slow hiss. No conductor, no signs. Just the soft screech of brakes on iron and a hiss of steam. Just an open door, and a feeling. A feeling like standing at the edge of a cliff and leaning forward. He should have run, but he stepped inside. The moment he did, the door closed behind him. The sound was like a coffin lid sealing. Inside, the train was impossibly quiet. No hum of electricity, no rattle of metal. Each carriage was filled with passengers, all motionless, sitting perfectly still. Some wore modern clothes, hoodies, sneakers, headphones still looped around their necks. Others looked like they'd stepped out of black and white photographs. Fedoras, lace gloves. A man in a Civil War uniform sat perfectly still. Their eyes were open, unblinking, staring forward, not dead, not alive, something else. No one moved. He sat in an empty seat. Opposite him sat a woman holding a melted candle. Wax had melted all over her dress. Her eyes were shut. Her mouth moved as if whispering, without looking at him. Then she opened her eyes. "Don't fall asleep," she whispered. "That's when it takes you." He blinked. What? But when he looked again, she was gone, replaced by a man in a tattered postal uniform from the 1940s, slumped forward, face blank. Then, the train began to move. No announcements, no jolt, just a slow, smooth glide. Caleb tried to ask questions, but his voice was gone. He looked outside the windows. Nothing. There was no trees, no landscape, just pitch black, like the world had vanished. The passengers were still motionless, but their heads had all turned toward him, eyes open, mouths slightly agape. Caleb tried to stand, but his legs felt heavy, his thoughts foggy. He screamed, but the train kept going, faster, faster. Time didn't move. He then ran through the cars. Each one was worse, passing more people, more eras, more silence. At the far end of the final car, he saw it. A full-length mirror standing where no mirror should be, its frame twisted like melted brass, its surface rippling faintly, like water disturbed by something beneath. He stepped closer and froze. When he looked into it, he wasn't there. Instead, the reflection showed him sitting back in the first car, perfectly still in the same seat, his eyes wide and empty, his mouth slightly open, just like the others. Caleb staggered back in disbelief, spun around. They were there, all of them. Every lifeless passenger that had been frozen in their seats now stood behind him, shoulder to shoulder, silent. Their hollow eyes stared straight into him, empty, endless. Then, they whispered, all at once, a breathy chorus of decay.
"You already took the ride."
The lights above flickered violently. The train groaned, metal screeching like it was waking up. Caleb's scream tore from his lungs, echoing through the metal bones of the train. But it didn't matter. Outside, the world was gone. Only darkness. And the train kept moving. Caleb Morris was never seen again. Next morning, the townsfolk added Caleb's photo to the missing board at the diner, right next to a girl named Lillian from 1982 and a man named Jeremy from 1954. And still, once a week, the train rolls through Hollow Point. So if you ever hear the whistle near midnight, don't turn your head, don't listen, don't look at the train, and whatever you do, don't get on. If this story sent shivers down your spine, smash that like button. Subscribe for more nightmare-fueled stories every single week. And tell us in the comments, would you board the train if it stopped for you? Until next time, sleep light and don't miss your stop. And remember, some rides never end. They just change you.